Hello and welcome to part 2 of this discussion miniseries. I am the host of this discussion, Epic Martin 7, and I am joined by Spazzy as well as the Mango Viking. Just in case you missed part 1 of this discussion miniseries, it will be linked in the description below. Anyways, with that out of the way, here is the rest of the discussion. First of all, what do you guys think of this leak?
There's some weird character choices, but you know what? Prior to the ESRB leak, when I heard what we refer to now as the Van Rose Ninka leak, which is where they're all like Dark Pit and Bowser Jr. in a clown car and Shulk, but he's a stance character. I also thought it was just total bullshit based off of the descriptions. So, I guess I could see it. And also, obviously I feel like there's a Smash bias where we look at a list and there's the omissions. You're like, I really thought Ashley would be on here. I don't know. Like, I really thought, Rex and Pyro would be on here. But you have to take that bias out of not seeing what you want out of it. And it's interesting. It's interesting, and there's something about it that feels, I don't know, big. I feel like it also feels just like any other fake text leak, though. Yeah, it's, Tower of Smash leak.
Yeah, I remember that.
People can type whatever
Do you have
they
any
want.
thoughts on this, Mango?
I don't know. When it comes to rumors now, it's hard to tell if any of them seem like they have any credibility because everyone's wish list and like who they expect has gone around so much. Like, we already expect like these 10 characters to come in. So it's like, okay, are any of these lists like legitimate because there are things we've heard before or expect, or is it not because we've just kind of built this up in our heads? This is an interesting one because it adds a bunch of characters people probably wouldn't expect and might be, well, at least unexpected, which might make it sound more realistic because someone could just make a list like, oh, here's a list and it's all the characters people want, versus something that might be more realistic where we're going to shove a bunch in here that you wouldn't really expect or maybe even want. But that's like the reality of it. Like Bowser Jr.
like
in the clown
there.
car. Like, people expected him to have a paintbrush, and then when they saw that, they're like, "No, that's stupid. Why would he be in a clown car? That doesn't make sense." And it's like, well, no, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, let's go down the list because there's some that kind of subvert expectations. I think, and I don't know if that was done purposefully as a fake rumor or if it's I mean, like I said, every rumors. A lot of people say every leak's fake until it's proven real. I'm kind of a Schrodinger's cat type of person. Every leak is both fake and real until it exists in both states until something comes to disprove it or more comes to prove it. So let's treat this as something that could possibly be real, and let's just go down and talk about.
So I guess I could start a little bit because this can kind of get into my opinions I was talking about earlier. I think I'm going to make a controversial opinion. Yeah, I have something controversial for these discussions. I'm going to do it. Basically,
Do it.
I actually think there's some legitimacy to this leak, and that might sound weird, but if you go through the list, it literally sounds like what Sakurai would do. No, literally. First of all, if you look at this roster, and you look at when the project plan was supposedly made, like, in 2016...
Well, let's go over and say why that's a thing, because you haven't even said the characters yet.
That would probably help
more.
people.
So...
let's tell people what this leak is before we explain it, man. All right, so number one, we have Ice Climbers. I think everyone expects Ice Climbers to be back. So whatever. Any leak that doesn't include Ice Climbers, I'm calling fake. Fake bullshit.
That's going to be the real one where we don't get Ice Climbers. We're like, that one, no.
Number two, I think is interesting because it's Mimikyu, which is interesting because it's either somebody trying with a fake leak trying to subvert expectations because everybody includes Decidueye. Well, this one doesn't include Decidueye. That's interesting. But, it could have been. Once again, let's remember what, like you said, when this project plan was made, Sakurai wouldn't have known which characters were popular or not. Maybe Mimikyu's even in there as kind of a Pichu replacement of sorts, even though it wouldn't really have the same moves. I honestly don't play Pokemon, so I don't.
So are we like analyzing each one or just explaining the list?
I guess we can analyze each one for like.
Yeah, let's do that.
I
Yeah,
do
for
have
like a
something to
second or
say
two.
with Mimikyu because I just I'm doing the Decidueye. I rate that character, and I actually had to cut it down a bit because I brought up some other characters, and person editing was like, "Yeah, we might have other versions of these. This is going to be too long." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right."
Right.
But with Mimikyu, he probably wouldn't have known if it would have been popular or not. Maybe he heard that he'd be in the anime. I'm gonna say no because it's easier. The funny thing is, with Greninja was in Smash Brothers a year before Pokken came out. Pokken didn't have Greninja in it. And then now, Pokken Tournament DX has Decidueye in it a year before Smash comes out. So maybe Sakurai is like, you know what? Maybe we won't repeat it, and I'll just put another weird character I think would be interesting. And Mimikyu is like easily one of the weirder ones out of Sun and Moon because he's like a fan. I forget if he likes Pikachu or hates him, but there's just like this weird dynamic that'd be funny. So
I mean, I can see the best
Like
thing about
that's-
Mimikyu is all the pictures that Sakurai would have for his pick of the day type pictures. So that's important, I think. Just real quick, let me just go over the list and then we'll go back and go over it.
yeah.
So then we have Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles, the Chorus Kids from Rhythm Heaven, Takamaru from Mysterious
Murasame Castle.
Murasame Castle, yeah. Dixie Kong from what's that game series? She's from Donkey Kong Country. Wolf from Star Fox. Ridley from Ridley Too Big. King K. Rool also from Donkey Kong Country. Medusa from Greek mythology. He didn't specify. Maybe it's a Medusa head from Castlevania. Probably the villain from the first Kid Icarus. So, Porky Minch and a Spider Mech, which is a really weird one, but so is Bowser Jr. and the Clown Car. Obviously from Earthbound and Mother 3. Samurai Goro from F-Zero. Simon Belmont from Castlevania. Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Geno and Mallow as a team, so the Geno Climbers, some Super Mario RPG representation, and Snake. You just said Snake? Could be, I'm assuming, Snake Plissken from Escape from Eden.
Yeah.
So.
My Atari game represented here, Snake. Hell yeah.
Yo, dude, yeah, it's probably Snake from Nokia phones. Oh, man, that is a gaming icon. Why didn't I... Dude, I am all about Snake now. Yeah. More people have played Snake, I think, than have played Smash Brothers. So, yeah, and he said there would be a heroes versus villains theme, and it's intentional. I don't know if that means that at E3 there'll just be like an awesome reveal trailer, or if it's going to have to do with the story mode or what. But that's basically the entirety of the league. So yeah, we already talked about Mimikyu, so I guess let's go down to Elma. And to your point, Martin, I think this is what you're talking about with project plans. You can tell us.
Yeah, so basically Elma was the kind of main protagonist of Xenoblade Chronicles X, although we're getting into spoiled territory here. Supposedly the project plan, well, actually no, we kind of know, was made around the summer of 2016. And Xenoblade Chronicles X was released at the end of 2015, which would mean that Elma would have to be kind of on Sakurai's radar, if you think about it. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was probably very, very early in development at that. Well, actually, if you look at it, the Switch event was in early 2017. So by that point, maybe Rex wasn't like fully materialized as the protagonist at all.
I think we actually know when his final design was. I don't remember from where, but don't quote me on that. Yeah. We can look that up later.
I know they started. I know they started on the game like some part way through Chronicles X. Like before they even finished it, they already started on 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe that puts a wrench into things, but still, again, Elma was a fully realized character. She was already in a game, so it might make sense as to why Sakurai would go towards her as opposed to, say, Rex, which I think would be more for DLC. But again, we're talking about the base roster here, so she'd be good in that, at least in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Oh, I agree with you, and I think that would be the same reason why we wouldn't see Ring Man or Ribbon Girl once again because of timing.
Yeah.
That being said, this also seems like I said one of those things to kind of subvert your expectations, where we want this leak to feel different. We want for it to stand out in a realistic way that people can justify, but doesn't look like every other rumor out there. So kind of to play devil's advocate to it, if I was making a fake leak, I'd probably include Elma, not Rex and Pyra, because it makes sense, but it's still different than most of them.
Right. I mean, you have to look at it from both perspectives of the developer and the leaker.
Right, exactly, and I think what you're saying makes sense. I know we've gone back and forth on this a lot in the game, and if this game is made like other Smash Brothers games, and it isn't as forward thinking, it's more of just sticking to the development plan of games that are already out, then it does make sense that there wouldn't be any Springman, and that it might be Elmo over Rex and Pyra. So, I mean, I get it. I think it would be weirder to have Springman and Elma. Like, that would be weird. You know what I'm saying?
That would be kind of weird. It'd be totally two different eras of Nintendo to cover. And make more sense for DLC, as pointed out.
Right, yeah, that's the other thing, is if Rex and Pyra and Springman aren't in the base game, and then there is DLC, I can almost guarantee they would be part of it.
Same thing how Corrin was added into Smash 4 through DLC. So, representing a new game coming out in the West around that same time. So, yeah, it could be Sakurai's maybe thinking, okay, just get the game out and then we'll worry about it later with post-content.
I don't think we have to talk about every character on the list, so let's go down and talk about whatever what's the next one that you would think is interesting to talk about? Mango?
I guess a quick note on Chorus Kids, because I'm also doing the Rate That Character for that. It's interesting because I looked into, like, the history. I look into like a lot of statistics and stuff on this because it's fun, but it helps. But usually when a character is cut, like from, let's say, like in Melee, probably the only example I can think of, you have leftover data on the game of characters that they were like kind of planning maybe, but didn't get in, and none of those characters have come back. And Chorus Kids is kind of the same way, where there's some Rhythm Heaven data left on there, but that might be a reason like why they aren't coming back, or at least them specifically, because no one else that's been cut and hasn't.
Right, and that also assumes that Gamatsu was 100% real and correct, which we don't know.
Yeah.
I think Gamatsu was real, but once again, that's just another layer onto this. For instance, if the Chorus Kids get into this next game, then you can't, I feel like, ever argue that Gamatsu wasn't 100% correct.
Yeah.
But since there is still some wiggle room and argument room, at least on that character, that would definitely be something else. Also, counterpoint to you, Roy and Mewtwo and Dr. Mario were cut, and they do have data on the disc in Brawl, but they were all brought back to as DLC, but still for Smash 4.
Yeah, that's true. I meant like characters that like weren't actually developed. Like they were in Melee. Yeah. And so, like, sure, they were cut from Melee and didn't come to Brawl. But I mean, like, in Melee, like, those characters, like, weren't actually realized in any form. And then also haven't been ever. That. Right, and I mean, Dixie Kong that goes down here would probably be a similar thing, because we do know that she has data in Brawl and was cut from there, never developed. Yeah. But that might be different because she was originally scrapped as part of Diddy Kong, so those are different circumstances. I think the next down, as far as interest goes, is Ridley, because he feeds into the other other rumors, so it matches what everyone else has been saying. So that's good. Any pros and cons to that? I think Sakurai can always change his mind, so I can see Ridley coming in. It's always a weird
another
one,
thing to bring up too is that Bandai Namco is also rumored to be making Metroid Prime 4. So Sakurai kind of has the advantage there, because Bandai Namco could simply just redesign Ridley for the main Metroid Prime 4 game.
Yeah, but okay, man. I mean, okay. Listen, I get that he'd be working in maybe the same building, even though there's no guarantee that they're working out of the same studio. I don't know that. Someone can probably correct me on that. But to say that, he gets like insider information on Metroid, but there's no way, but instead of instead of Rex and Pyra, he's including Elma, and he's not including Springman. Like, I feel like you can't pick and choose.
It's a hard endeavor to really think about what avenue are going to take to get to these characters. I'm not saying, like, Sakurai's going to pull some strings to redesign Ridley. No, I don't think that. Hell, I don't think that's how it works in game development. I'm only saying that there is that connection, loose connection, I might add, but still that connection nonetheless that might help things kind of get rolling, But
I like there's 2 DK reps. I think Medusa is an awesome choice, just personally. Kind of love Medusa. little weird to think about. It would, because if you piggyback this off of Emily Rogers, that means there'd be 4 Kid Icarus reps in this game. And also to see her before Hades and before Vriddy might be a little weird to some people, but she's actually one of my most wanted as well. I just love her design. I think we need more female villains. Would be cool, but I can also see how some people would be like, oh man, too many Kid Icarus reps. Of course, Sakurai doesn't really care about that.
Yeah. I think there might be some credence to Medusa. I'm working on one of my own videos or whatever, and I'm looking like through the history of Smash and how many characters are cut or added or whatever. And when it comes to clones, the only clones are always based off of a character that appeared in like a previous game. So it's the only time a new character showed up and had a clone was Marth and Roy.
Right.
So it kind of does make sense that you could just basically take Palutena and then pull a Ganondorf and give her purple effects and make her heavier. You could probably do a new moveset, but I mean that could be an easy way, because you basically just change the head.
That'd be more for Pseudo Palutena, wouldn't it be? I guess if you think about it.
I guess.
Because that was the Palutena that was all purple and looked kind of ugly.
I don't think people would like her as much as Medusa, I guess.
Yeah, it's the goddess of darkness and the goddess of light. They are kind of mirrors.
That is true.
Look at their designs even. But I think because they're mirrors of each other, that Medusa's left-handed and Palutena's right-handed. So would that really work? They don't hold the staff on the same hand.
Just mirror them like Twilight Princess.
I don't know, man. I'm just like bringing stuff out because I think conceptually that could work. It'd be weird though too. Because Palutena is so much built off of custom specials. So would you change her specials? Because I feel like you have to change her A moves, because she has I guess you could change the angel wings to bat wings or something, but it would just be weird. It would be... I get it conceptually when you look at them, and I do think they can be clones to a degree, but there's just some fundamental differences that makes it a little weird for them to be clones. But I mean, it could happen.
Definitely. I would agree that Medusa might be clone material, possibly, if Sakurai wanted to take that route. But I would say that she probably wouldn't be on this leak, I think, because she'd probably have to be last minute. But, of course, the game is releasing this year, so that could be the case, but most clones are last minute.
Right. Let's go to the first one that's kind of a WTF one for me, and that's Porky Minch and Spider-Man.
I just want to point out first that if this leaker was trying to fabricate this, I think they might have been piggybacking off of Bowser Jr. and the Clowncopter.
Yeah, seriously, that's what that is. But not even that, because Bowser Jr., I mean, I know we got Rosalina, but another Earthbound character, they cut the series down to one character before DLC.
Yeah. And
now we're going to have 3?
Yeah, and they almost got rid of Luke and Ness a couple of times.
Yeah, that is the most far-fetched one for me. I mean, but you can't predict Sakurai. This roster seems weird enough, but good enough to fall into what Emily Rogers says, that nobody will complain about the roster. But there's just some that, like I said, that one is just a red flag for me. It could happen. I think Porky would be awesome. It just seems weird. And if you make the Spider-Mech smaller, that would also be weird to make him playable.
Yeah, it would be a weird mechanic, but we did see some of that in Brawl when he was a boss. So Sakurai,
right? But he was giant, Ridley size.
two giant bosses becoming playable characters. What kind of drugs is Sakurai on?
Yeah, I don't know. That one just seems...
Yeah, it seems kind of weird, I'll admit.
The biggest thing is I don't see why we would get another Mother character now. We're lucky to have two
unless and the Cynic and
maybe Mother 3 is coming. Yeah,
exactly.
It's the only reason.
Maybe that's why. All right, gotta believe. And are we getting a new F-Zero too? Because Samurai Goro's the next one on the list.
Yeah, that.
If I try.
Yeah, and that's another thing. This doesn't mean anything, but it's funny. There's no new Kirby characters, but there's a new F-Zero character or a new Mother character. Like I said, that's one thing that when you're looking at rumors and leaks, you can't ever say something's wrong because it doesn't include something.
Right, exactly.
So you can be I'll say it like this list needs more Bomberman, and it does. It does need more Bomberman. But that doesn't mean it's fake, because that's never a reason, because it doesn't have what you expect or what you want on it. Because there's plenty of times where everybody 100% expects Ridley, and instead you get robbed. You know?
Pretty much. I mean, ironically, spoiler alert, there's no Waluigi on this list, but...
What the hell? No Waluigi. So Simon Belmont's next, and Simon Belmont was, once again, what's good about this rumor, and what I don't know if it's what it has going for it, or if it's just because it's piggybacking off other things, but the Simon Belmont thing has been going around for a while, and this matches up with every instance of that. So, also Simon Belmont's awesome, and he should be in Smash Brothers, but I digress.
He could be kind of the third-party retro representative, kind of, in a similar vein to Little Mac was in Smash 4, because Little Mac was kind of this character like Pit and Brawl, where he was given a new lease of life.
Right. And the last three characters, I think, are all worthy to talk about.
Yes. I guess we can go into Sora just a bit, even though we talked about him a little bit earlier.
Yeah, basically what we said before stands. He would be a bit of a licensing nightmare, but I think if Sakurai wants him, he can get him in. And he makes a lot of sense from this standpoint. Because people think he'd be such a licensing nightmare, he would be surprising.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So he would be a big, splashy character on this list, I think, for casual Smash fans. Even though I point out that Lara Croft is a much bigger Square Enix character. All the time.
I will say, I am looking forward to barely any Kingdom Hearts music.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I don't know, to assist trophies that allude to his friend, a talking dog and duck. I don't know. I mean, personally, I think Sora would be a great addition. He'd be a cool character. And I could see it happening, but once again, it's one of those that, makes you raise an eyebrow a little bit. Because it also kind of seems a little bit like wish fulfillment. Yeah. Like, people want it to be true.
Oh, yeah.
And then Geno and Mallow as a team is weird. The weirdest thing.
I'm going to say this. I actually think that is the most Sakurai thing to do.
I think so, too. I think that's like one of the things that makes me think this will be real.
And think about it this way, he can legitimately incorporate Super Mario RPG elements when they swap characters.
What would you even call them?
Geno and... similar to Rosalina and Luma, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Geno Mallow, maybe?
It's not that long of a name in terms of character limits. I think Mr. Game & Watch is the most.
Yeah, I think Mr. Game & Watch has had the record for a long time.
I don't know, man. It just seems
it's weird.
But it's like I said, it's weird in such a Sakurai way that I can see it being.
Exactly. Of course.
And
go ahead.
I'll be honest, I would be a lot happier with that than just Geno, because it would just be this encapsulation of Super Mario RPG, and it would be so weird and out there, and I would love it. I don't know, it's such a great concept to me. It's so, like I said, it's off the wall.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's definitely way out there, probably even more than Duck Hunt and Bowser Jr. Of course, if you're a cynic like me sometimes, you could also say that they piggybacked off the Dixie and Diddy Kong thing that they were attempting in Brawl.
Yeah.
Or just Rosalina.
And then finally Snake. Yeah. Finally Snake, and the thing about Snake is just that Snake is a weird one, because I think you always want to bring veterans back, and I think Snake obviously makes sense, and if you get Simon in, you might want to ask about Snake as well. But we know that Kojima and Konami are not on good terms. We know that Sakurai and Kojima are friends, but we don't really know how, because I 100% know that Sakurai, before he bought Snake back, would talk to Kojima. So it all has to do with how Kojima, and I 100% feel like Konami would give Snake, if Nintendo's like, here's money, Konami would be like, do we have to do anything? No. Okay, here. We don't actually have to make a game, do we? Oh yeah, sure, do whatever you want. So I think it all comes down to how Kojima feels. If he still feels like this is, my baby sort of deal, and I still want it represented in Smash. If he gives Sakurai the blessing, then I could see.
Yeah, I could actually. Well, don't forget too, in Brawl, Sakurai had to ask every single creator of every single character in Smash Brothers for Snake to use his heavy artillery. It's like a Japanese thing or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so basically, he...
And the Pokemon Company let him?
Well, look at
it's like
it this
the most
way,
stingy
right?
one I could imagine.
Brawl had 34 characters, and this game is rumored to have, well, according to this guy, at least 70 characters, which is quite a lot, but just imagine asking every single developer of 70 characters and tons of franchises. That's going to be quite a lot, so this seems... the circumstances behind Snake are very, very weird, I will say, but just like Sora, though, he's a rights nightmare, so I would not be surprised if Sakurai went through brick walls just to get to Snake. So
I think it's also in an interesting position just because it's like a third-party character that was cut, so it's like, should you bring them in the base game or just make them DLC like the other veterans?
I would have to agree.
Make a new one. Yeah,
Anyways, I guess we can get into the final part of this, and Spazzy mentioned it a little bit earlier, but he stated that heroes and villains would be a theme for Smash Brothers, and that it would make more sense at E3. And you stated that it could possibly mean a bunch of different things, but one idea in particular has kind of stuck with me, and that it could be relating to a story mode.
I mean, as long as we get to see Eggman and Wily team up for some fun boss battles, that's all I care about.
I mean, they don't have to... Well, that'd be cool if they were playable, but I think the one thing lacking in Subspace was, being able to go in different video game worlds, because Melee had that, but Brawl was supposed to be an expanded version of that, and I don't think we got that quite a lot. It was only original, and people didn't really... The mode was good, but it didn't have that excitement that you would like, Mario and Sonic's world and stuff like that. So Smash 4, with its lack of story mode, was really disappointing for some because you had, Final Fantasy character like Cloud or Bayonetta, and going through each of them worlds would have been really cool. So this could be hopefully fully realized in Smash for Switch.
Yeah, I could see that. I wonder if it's going to go with the title of the game, Super Smash Brothers Clash.
Super Smash Brothers, Your Wallet Is Now Mine.
That's every game.
Super Smash Brothers Deluxe.
Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, for 3DS, for Switch.
I don't know. Like I said, it's so vague. I don't even know. It could be cool, though. I would say the way it's hinted at, it probably means some sort of story mode, or at least a kick-ass trailer. At the very least.
Yeah, I would agree. So, do you have any thoughts on that, Mango?
I mean, yeah, it sounds like it's alluding to at least some kind of mode. And even with like a story mode, they don't even have to do something as labor-intensive as like the cutscenes or like a whole 8-hour campaign or anything like that. Like you could have some sort of mission structure. I forget who it was who made this video, but someone basically made it where you'd have like the 3DS Classic mode where you can choose branching paths, and then your character can talk to another character via like dialogue boxes like Fire Emblem, and you would connect that way. I mean, it wouldn't be as great as a cutscene, but it'd still be cool to have them like interact in some way, so that seems doable because it's just text. So I'm sure they could put in something, and if they're migrating a lot of the content over, I think that gives them a lot more room to work on other modes. So I think at the very least, regardless of this rumor, we'll probably get some other interesting, maybe story-related mode.
I think the most disappointing thing is if this rumor pans out and these are the actual newcomers. I think it's a pretty good list, but I'm sad that there'd be no Animal Crossing, or especially no Kirby.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that. I mean, you would think that, okay, with Star Allies, they would get a little bit more representation, but...
And I keep saying it, man. I'm totally feeling Ashley. I really feel like Ashley will make it in. That's, once again, that's just me. Has anyone done the RTC on her yet? I should get on.
Anyways, do you guys have any final thoughts on, everything in general?
With this particular rumor, I'll say this. Like I said, you can't say, hey, like I said, Ashley's not on there, Bomberman's. I can't say that it's wrong because there's stuff that I want or expect it's not on there. There's a certain weirdness to it where I wouldn't be surprised if this is what we got. From a total outsider's perspective, I know that, well, first of all, I know people have been talking about similar things for a while, so maybe it could pan out. I know there's a lot of rumors out there. from somebody that just read this list on the internet that has no background or anything, there's quite a few things. There's no real reason to believe it, and there's quite a few things that kind of make you raise your eyebrow. But that's how I feel about it, and that's kind of, I guess, how I feel about all of these, rumors. Could be true, could be false.
What do you think? What do you think, Mango?
I think the most realistic leaks when it comes to any game are ones that make you feel a little off, because a lot of them will be just like character or like wish lists of what people want, and let's be honest, those aren't really realistic. There's always going to be some grain of something you don't like in it, and I don't think these are necessarily bad, but they're also like really weird choices people wouldn't really expect, like Gino and Mallow as a team, or Porky. So some of those weird ones that make you question it, I think makes it a bit more realistic.
Would you say they're Ridley weird choices? That's your guys' cheesy comedy for the day. Anyways, where can they find you guys at?
Here?
Yeah.
At 8bit_Spazzy, and anywhere at Source Gaming. I'm on a lot of discussions. I write articles. I'll be at E3 soon, so if you guys have any ideas of what you'd like to see, and so will Mango actually.
Yeah.
So if you have any ideas of what you'd like us to see us do at E3, besides play Smash Brothers, because we will try to do that as much as possible. Even if they only let us do it once,
we'll find a way.
We will just like beat up other people, and
we'll get our fake mustaches. Gotta get all the disguises. Gotta get the Ridley one, stand on each other's shoulders.
Anyways, we want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages, including our Facebook and Twitter accounts. Thank you to our super Patreon, the Duke of Dorks. There's a link to his channel in the description below, including in the end card of this video. We hope you guys enjoyed this discussion, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.